All right, everybody, welcome in to Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin. I'll be the one and only Big Spoon.
Be pudding.
The primary purpose of this podcast is to educate and share our thoughts and opinions. When we have proof and evidence on a topic, it will be brought forth. This podcast does not constitute advice or services to anyone. Spoon and Puddin do not accept any responsibility or liability for our guests or anyone's comments or actions based on material we talk about on this podcast. This podcast is for private, non commercial use, and everyone should ascertain that the information we provide is correct and verified at all times. There shall be no adding to, editing, or reproduction of this podcast without prior written permission from Spoon and Puddin. You can reach us at realtalkwithspoonandpuddin at gmail.com. So, what's going on this morning, Pig?
No, just getting up. What about you?
Ah,
Did you take a nap? You sent that invite like 6:30 or 6 something.
yeah. I laid down to watch some TV and kind of nodded off for a half hour or so.
Well, I didn't want to get up this morning. All right. So, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I was going to get into the whole Brittany Griner thing again, being she's been convicted. That's that WNBA star who got arrested in Russia and been
For what? For weed?
for smuggling weed into Russia. She finally had her court date this past week and got sentenced to 9 years in Russian prison. And of course, our government and a lot of the big name people were up in arms about it, wanting her to be released. And then the government's talking about let's trade prisoners with Russia.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, she's been playing in Russia since 2014. She knew the laws, just like the laws are over here. She broke the law intentionally. She tried to say, "Well, I forgot. I forgot I had it in my bag." But you know as well as I do, would that fly over here if we had a gun in our carry on and we could say, "Oh, well, I forgot I had it in there."
It depends on who you are. I mean, you can forget your lights are off when you're drunk driving, and you might get away with it in Portland.
Well, sure.
But you get away with it if you're somebody who doesn't matter in Portland. You don't know you're going to jail.
But the government seriously trying to negotiate her release by swapping prisoners. Stating it's an outrage that she was even arrested, and a severe outrage that she got 9 years in prison for violating Russia law. And I think if they do that, which I feel like the American people should have already stood up, but they should demand that every petty criminal that's in prison in this country over marijuana should be released the exact moment they do that. That would be, that would put so much release and relief on our system. But it's a revenue stream for them. That's why they sit outside the drug house and they pop every nickel and dime guy that stops in there and buys weed.
No, but they let the seller continue to sell.
Exactly, it's a revenue stream. If it was me and you that got popped in Russia,
No, I wouldn't care. They could care less.
you think the government would care?
I want to know why Snowden has to hide in Russia. I mean, what did he really do?
Told the truth?
He told the truth that they were spying on the American people. I sent Latimer last night when he was talking, and I sent him that thing from Joe Rogan, where he was talking about TikTok.
Right.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it, but I mean,
Now, you know how Americans just love their TikTok. Joe
oh yeah,
Rogan was talking about it here. Wasn't that long ago? He did it. He had a. It was on YouTube. I seen it on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny. It's on YouTube." But let's see, when did he do that?
I like
11 days ago.
I like Joe Rogan, but I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah, if y'all haven't seen it, there it is. It's on. Let me turn the thing down. Um, no, he showed it's on YouTube. It was 11 days ago, and it says Joe Rogan's TikTok's crazy terms of service.
Right?
Yeah, it's just a short 11-minute video, but he started reading the terms of service, and he's like, dude, y'all know what this means? It means China can read your uh, key captures, key recs. And he said the Chinese government can see all kinds of stuff on your phone. But Americans love their TikToks. Just I say they're TikToks, and you can say it's their Nikes and their iPhones and their Starbucks.
Same difference. It's the thing. This is things they want instead of the things they should care about. Right?
I'm not saying YouTube and Google is much better. I said, but at least their corporate headquarters is in the U.S. and not over in China, where they know everything. People need to think about China as you think China can't make good shit? I mean, I think they're incapable of it. I mean, we pretty much what we get over here is shit.
Well, they sure love their iPods and their iPhones made in China, don't they?
Yeah, with the people from you know saved by the suicide nets.
Yeah. In the sweatshops where people
You tell
did
people
commit suicide.
you tell people that, and they just look at you like you're full of it. No, it's
I,
true.
I don't buy anything.
No, well, I mean, you think Android's much different? Honestly, you think Samsung's much really
Yeah,
truly?
Android is not built in a Chinese sweatshop like iPod is.
Uh, I don't know. I haven't done. If it is, they've done a good job of keeping it secret,
Yeah.
showing it. But a lot of people don't pay attention to things like that. I mean, I don't like Facebook much. I know you're addicted. Michelle's addicted. A lot of people are addicted.
I like just sharing memes and pissing people off. It's fun.
I don't want them to know my thoughts. I want them to
What's
never let
not
them never
it's
let them
not
see you coming.
it's not reality, see? People think they know your thoughts, but it's not reality. I can get on there and post anything I want to, and 400, 500 people is going to read it one way and react, and it's totally meant the opposite way.
Well, I mean, I don't. I just don't. I don't know. I don't like them. I don't like the social media sites much. I've even stopped looking at Twitter here in the last week and a half. I don't look at it no more.
I'm tired of it sending me crap on my phone.
Oh, me too. I uninstalled the app. I was like, I'm sick of seeing all this junk.
Random. It's
Yeah, just
random.
random BS. It's like, oh, just go away. You know, Elon's not buying you. He's not going to be a free platform. That was the only reason that I got back on Twitter was because of Elon. I thought he was going to really genuinely make it a free platform where, because I remember one night I tried to post some BS about Hillary Clinton, and Facebook kept refusing to. I had to get real clever with the wording because I was, they said I was slandering her. She's a public figure.
Right.
Slander any public figure I want. You know, like the Chamber of Commerce in Portland. I slander all of them. I don't care.
It's funny how Facebook works now. They'll go back 5 years ago and give you a hit or
Oh,
suspend you for 30 days or something bullshit.
I ain't really posted them other than just sharing other people's shit.
Kind of like YouTube when we talk about the freest and fairest elections.
Oh yeah, well, took them a little while to come to that, but I still stick by my guns that we need a blockchain voting. Until you get that, you really don't know.
But I just can't understand how this Brittany Griner wouldn't stand for the national anthem. She hated this country. She disrespected it left and right. Said she didn't like the way our country was.
Well, we got
So
Big Spoon's out here. He loves his football, even though Colin Kaepernick, I stopped watching after Colin Kaepernick. I ain't watched football. I don't give a damn about football. There is so many more things you could reapply your time to. Period.
yeah, I love sports, but here's the thing on that. If we want to talk about freedom, does Kaepernick have the freedom to take a knee during the national anthem?
He has the freedom to, sure, but
But running his mouth, we don't want to hear it, right?
I don't want to hear it. I support his freedom to sit down. I mean, that's fine. But what got me the most about the football thing is when all the owners came out, and I was like, you know what? Stop pandering.
Yep.
Stop pandering and go away. You know.
I stopped watching the NBA. I was a big NBA fan back when the Pacers met a world peace, went in the stands and started hitting fans. Remember that?
I don't.
Back in the early 2000s. You don't remember that? If you don't, YouTube that. That's when they lost me, and I went away from them for a long time. Now I'm gradually watching a little bit now, but
I got away from when Shaq left Orlando. I was done. I was like, all right, this is ridiculous. I'm done with baseball or basketball. No, that was. I thought he was going to bring our because I'm from Central Florida. I thought he was going to bring the championship down there.
he did.
He didn't bring it to Central Florida.
I'm sorry. He took it to Miami.
Did he take it to Miami or did he take it to Los Angeles?
Well, he went to LA, won championships. He come back to Miami and won championships.
Yeah, but he didn't bring it to Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando sucks.
Mm-hmm. So does your Volunteers.
You had a pretty good team when you had Shaq and Penny Hardaway, and that broke up real quick, didn't it?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I stopped watching basketball then. I stopped watching baseball. What was it that made me stop watching baseball?
The strike, early '90s.
I think so. Because I was like, what's the point? And but I don't think baseball ever really recovered after that. Honestly, you ever see it on TV after that? Unless it's a World Series, ain't nobody in the stands. Nobody cares.
Oh yeah, baseball. Yeah, they recovered. Maybe not in Southern Florida. I mean,
hey, I did watch when the Marlins beat the Yankees. That was funny. You had the most lowest paid budget team beating the most expensive team.
the highest payroll.
Yeah,
I'm a Braves fan, so we don't have a problem filling the stands.
You racist. That's what you are. You're a racist. You like them Braves.
Hey, I'm a Braves fan from the '80s when we were the last place team every freaking year.
But I'm saying, I'm surprised they haven't been forced to change their name with cancel culture.
Oh my God.
Well, that's what's coming. You know what I mean?
Well, they've stood by their.
Didn't they change the Redskins name to
the Commanders?
Oh God!
It went from the Redskins to the Washington football team. Now they're the Washington Commanders.
I'm surprised the Chiefs haven't been getting pressure. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Well, they all get pressured. It's just like, do you give in to it?
The Redskins did.
Well, they're in D.C.
So
they must be owned by Democrats. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
But I think about all the things you could reapply your time to.
I love football. You can get me away from that. So you can talk to your face is blue. You ain't gonna keep me from watching football, especially college football.
I know. Pick up your iPhone.
Next Friday night, I'll be at high school football.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, your son ain't in it no more, is it? No.
Well, it don't matter. Football's football.
When's you gonna get your middle or your
my younger boy? He played football in youth. I tried to get him to try out. He didn't. I'm gonna try to get him a try out again for next year.
Wow.
He just wants to play baseball and soccer.
Shut up, right? Don't say nothing.
Hey, you can say what you want about soccer. You run up back and forth in that field for 90 minutes, dude.
I'm not talking about that. Oh, soccer.
When Braxton was in middle school, he played three sports. He played that baseball, football, and soccer.
Oh man,
You got to be in shape to play that game, buddy.
I'm in shape. I ain't playing none of them. I go out in the yard and shoot. That's what I do. That's my sport. Practice,
I play all those sports.
practice my target practice. That's what I do.
I play them on the Xbox.
Your thumbs. You got thumbs.
Yeah, my thumbs are in shape.
Hand-eye coordination and thumbs. That's what Spoon works on. But no, I build. Like I said, you know me. I build those guns and stuff and shoot them. I've got more projects to work on that anyway.
So, me and you went to the council meeting on Monday, and they started 30 minutes late, so I had to leave and go to work. So how did your time go there?
I accused them all of being a bunch of crooks, pretty much. I don't think I made it in the paper, unfortunately.
I bet the Portland Sun didn't put that in the paper, did they?
No, I didn't make it in the paper like you did. I didn't defend Dillard like you did neither. Though.
Yeah, but you were talking bad about the city, so she wasn't going to put it in there going, citizen accuses city of fraud and waste and lying all
Fraud,
the time.
waste, and abuse. Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing I got to say about like that was, hey, Mike Hall. By the way, if someone shows this to you, found your address. Patricia King, I found your address. I think Thompson found your address online. Mike Cowles found your address online. While you sit there and you post things about trying to add less less supreme clauses to no, that's what it is. It's like you just read to me the Portland ordinance about
Yeah, what they call the PRRC.
yeah, the Portland's releasing a FOIA request. They think that their ordinance supersedes state law.
Yeah. Because it says here in Section 5D, a requester will not be allowed to make copies of records with personal equipment. Is a cell phone not personal equipment? But you take pictures with your cell phone. Requesters may purchase storage devices from the city upon which the records will be downloaded. How is that possible? Because
they won't send those electronically.
Because they first they said, the first few we got electronically, and then they went to stonewalling, right? Then they said, oh, these records are not electronic. You'll have to either inspect or get copies.
Well, no,
and then they got the
oh yeah, rub that big old titty. Look at that big old bitty.
Then they got the attorney involved, right? When he didn't have a clue what the hell he was talking about.
He still don't have a clue, and what he actually, I think his statement just puts a thumbs up on my accusing them of fraud, waste, and abuse.
You talk about a clown. If anybody don't know who we're talking about, our part-time attorney for the city, Bradley.
John Bradley.
You talk about a clown, son. He is a clown.
He didn't. I almost goaded him into an argument. I was trying, but he because I wasn't going to stick around and wait hours. I don't know how long it is going to be.
Which I told you, I printed out the whole TPRA for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 28 pages.
But no, he said the city has to make copies of the originals, and then the city, after making copies, has to redact information. What you can do your redactions on the computer. You do know that, So basically, what he said is the city has to waste money printing paper out to make redactions, then not to sell the paper. Which all you did was prove my point of fraud, waste, and abuse. That's all you did.
All they do is spread lies, and we're going to call them half truths because that's what they are. I
Well,
want you to I want you to understand, people. I've been waiting 4 months.
here, hold on. Let me go ahead and talk. Carry this on 1 second.
I've been waiting 4 months for open records that I've requested. And this is what the TPRA states. All right, I'm going to read you the state law. It states the custodian of a public record shall promptly make available for inspection any public record not specifically exempt from disclosure. So everything that I've requested is not exempt. It is open record. In the event that it is not practical for the record to be promptly available for inspection, the custodian shall, within 7 business days, make the information available, deny the request, which the request was not denied, or furnish the requester a completed records request response form developed by the Office of Open Records Counsel stating the time reasonably necessary to produce the record or information requested. Do y'all understand that? They are to promptly give over the information, or within 7 days give me a form or somebody else a form with a reasonable date that they'll give the information. So working on month 4, does that fall in line with the TPRA?
No, because they don't care.
No.
But see, I talked on what was that? 2293. That was a resolution to authorize the city recorder and or the human resource director to notify any current city employee if they are named in an open records request. Now, see, that's pretty vague. What bothers me about this is, what are you notifying? What are you showing the city employee when they were named? Are you showing them my FOIA request? Are you redacting my address?
Well,
Because you redact your address. I mean,
well,
no. When Patricia King gave me her file, it didn't have her address in it.
well, I'm going to read you because the TPRA already allows cities and counties and states.
It allows them to do it post,
right? But they're not doing that. They're doing
record request. No, it says to notify any current employee if they are named in an open records request, which
right.
It
But
doesn't say post.
The TPRA allows them to notify any officer.
The officers.
Yes,
they're doing this to city employees.
Right now they want to do the city employees, which is fine. But this is what it reads: the TPRA for the officers. It says all law enforcement personnel records shall be open for inspection as provided in the subsection A. However, when the personnel records of a law enforcement officer are inspected as provided in subsection A, the custodian shall make a record of such inspection and provide notice within 3 days from the date of the inspection to the officer whose personnel records have been inspected. Now, we know from personal experience that the county and the city is telling the officers the same day or the next day after we request the record, not after they've been inspected, because I'm still waiting 4 months on files and the officers already know they've been requested. All that does is open up more avenues and more doors for corruption. That's why the TPR states is you don't tell the officer until the files have been inspected. All right. And when they do tell
and or released, yes.
And when they do tell the officer, they tell the officer this inspection has been taking place, the name, address, and telephone number of the person making the inspection, from whom the inspection was made, and the date of the inspection. Now, if they're allowing this for the city employee and the officers, they should not be redacting their home address and telephone number, because if they're allowed to have citizen's address and phone number.
What this should be a lot bigger. It should say, we're just telling them the name of the requester and that their file's been requested.
That's what it should state. But
that's what it should state, but they don't say that.
But they left it open so they can get away with more, right?
That's where that's where ignorant Mike Hall later, because I didn't stay for the meeting, I left. So you got that old ignorant man Mike Hall sitting there saying, I think it's concerning when someone can request an employee's file and get all their personal information.
Nobody's requesting their personal information.
That's a flat lie. Patricia didn't give me her social security number, her address, her cell phone number. None of that. None of that was in the FOIA release, and I didn't want that information.
When you
It
when
just
you
made me. It made me one day while I was sitting on the pooper to lay in the wipe. It made me plug away on my phone, and I was like, "Well, looky there! I found out where Patricia lives. I found out where Mike Hall lives."
when you
That's
work
my
for the
point.
government, when you work for the city, when you work as a public servant, all your personnel files and records are open, right? That does not mean your social security number and your home address or any of that. Which I feel like your address and all that should be open because you drive around all day long with a car tag on the back of your car with these camera readers and the police. Guess what? They read your tag. They know exactly all their information for you. Same as me. I can get your tag number from your car and I can pull up all the information I want. It'll tell me everything.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. These old fuds in Portland government don't understand how the internet works. They really they don't get it. You don't know how the internet works. Let me spell it out for you. I can find your address, and I don't need to go to the dark web to find it either. I found it on the lit up web. So, but it's just my point. I never wanted your address in the first place. You made it sound like that's what I wanted. Whenever I wanted that, your names are all listed right here in the city ordinance. See, Mike Callis, Alderwoman Penny Barnes, your names are there. And if you want to do a Google search and you halfway, know how the internet works, what
Hold
I
it up.
found,
Hold it up there. You got it? Hold it
I
up
got it.
there. Hold it up there so everybody can see.
See, Jody McDowell, Penny Barnes, you're an alderman. You got Mike Callis, the mayor, uh, Mike
No,
Hall. See,
no,
so
I
there's
thought
his name.
I was talking about their addresses. I'd hold it up there, let everybody see
Oh
it.
no, no, I'm not going to do that. That would be doxing them. But
Uh,
the one thing I found most heartbreaking about the whole meeting thing was ordinance number 22-54, the first reading. That was the one where an ordinance to amend the city of Portland TN zoning map by rezoning 601 South Russell Street, a Group A parcel of 0.3700 from OPS Office Professional Service to RM1 High Density Residential. What is that lady going to do with that? Is she going to move in 8 families? Maybe. Maybe high density.
she didn't know what she's going to do with it.
Well, she
She,
didn't. No,
she
no. They have they deferred her request. Okay, they deferred her request because she's not related to Megan Thompson. You know, because in the Portland world, it looks like Megan Thompson and her parents and grandparents. In their world, it only matters whose crotch the doctor yanked them out of, right? Isn't that how that goes?
well, I mean,
Well, I
see,
mean, if Megan Thompson owned that piece of property, or her brother, or some of her family members own that piece of property, you reckon it would have been deferred for further discussion, or would it have been
it
approved?
it wouldn't have been debated on. It'd have been all eyes. Let's pass
Oh,
it.
just been like a choir, the church choir screaming, "Oh!"
I think it's comical that she's leading the charge out there, like she's the head of the committee
Oh,
about
she,
concern
you could tell she's the head of the committee. Mike
that
Hall's a good little puppy dog to her.
that she's well. I'm concerned about this and I'm concerned about that, and I think we should defer it. Da da da. But she had no problem voting yes for her brother's 200
Super,
plus home
whatever.
subdivision.
I thought that I thought Mike Callis called it 1,000 subdivision.
I don't think it was that many. I think it was 200 somewhere around there.
Did
But
you go
anyway,
back and watch it?
I did. And it's the
It
same
was
meeting. It was the
it
same
was
meeting that
it
it come
was
down to
three
a tie.
figures or more.
It come down. That was the same meeting where it come down to a tie vote, and they had between 20 and 30 citizens that live on that road come out and speak against it, and the mayor broke the tie and voted yes for it. It's the same meeting. I remember what meeting it was.
He's definitely he definitely takes his marching order from that rich family.
And I I can't understand why there's not more people in our town. Well, I know why, because you know, the the May county races got 14.7% of the population out to vote. That's including the cities. And this past Thursday, I think it was 14.25% got out and voted. So if you're only getting 14% of the people that actually care about things and want to get out and vote, I guess I can understand why there's not more people infuriated and that will stand up against it. And I'm sure there is more than 14%, but I'm sure a lot of them are like, well, this has went on for this long, and nothing's going to change it, so we're not going to do anything about it. Which, I mean, that's kind of half true. I mean, but it takes somebody to stand up and say no more. You know?
Well, I mean, in the end, you're, I had this talked about yesterday with the Portland thing closing. When they're going to move and you're going to have to drive to Bowling Green, I don't think that's going to. But I'm assuming that your thoughts on that are you're going to stay at least until the elections are over.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Because I'm not going to stop this. Our city has been controlled by the few for far too long.
Well, I
It's been drugged down and held under restraints and
see.
manipulated for too long. I'm not going to stop until I root them all out.
Well, that was what I was telling you after I left. I thought it was so comical that I went to the bathroom. Went to take a leak and across the hall from the bathrooms there in City Hall. There's a picture.
Andrew
Great,
Jackson.
great. No. It was great Tennesseans. There was a bunch of them. There was Polk and Jackson and people like that. Great Tennesseans. But I was comical because I looked at the picture. I was like, "Oh, there's Andrew Jackson. You got Polk, the president, and all these great Tennesseans." And you look down at the bottom, and it says "donated by Farmers Bank." And I was like, "Oh, that's comical right there. That's hilarious." Does Farmers Bank realize that if Andrew Jackson was here today, he revoked their charter? You
Yep.
know, do they understand what he would do? And that's because of things like that right there. What's that? $10 billion from the Bank of Zimbabwe. I had a stack of it. Just ooh. Hey, say what you want. It's funny. It's comical. It's play money. That's where our money's headed, though. That's what I try to tell everyone. You don't understand what they're doing. They're going to have to start new denominations of currency once it starts going hyper. Because the $100 bill become a $1 bill real quick. But what does it matter to people who own banks? It doesn't. That's that's my. Let me teach you a little something. Something. It don't matter to the people who own banks because they can just print more. Right.
Yep.
Just like the Megan Thompson and her family. What did her granddaddy do? Did he start a bank?
Ball
Isn't
State.
that? Oh, he started Vol State, and then what did you say that they all got
It's rumored that when it was sold and
every?
all the kids and the father split, they all got over $70 million a piece. Now that's the rumor. I don't know that for fact. I'm
That's
sure.
hearsay.
But
Well, we'll say it's hearsay, but I'm sure they got a big chunk of change.
I mean, you'll probably never know the truth of that. I mean, that's their business, I guess. I mean, not that they didn't steal from the people of this town for that many years. Well, why would it be any of our business?
I mean, well, it was so community development. Megan Thompson. Here's the fox in the hen house. Let's go ahead and hit Megan Thompson again. Here we go. There you go. You got it, number 11. Let's see. Make sure I get that right. Okay. Community development alderwoman Megan Thompson. Discuss contract agreement options year 3 with real strategies or retail strategies
Retail
LLC.
strategy. They're,
So
the only the only
in the
one's going to
meeting,
benefit from that is
no. In the meeting, the city of Portland since 2019 has been paying retail strategies $30,000 a year. You, Mr. Cole, have been funding retail strategies to bring in retail businesses here. of which the only one they can say they brought in was Planet Fitness.
And they didn't bring that in.
Well, that's what they said they claimed, that they got Retail Strategies.
I mean, they can claim that, but they didn't bring them in.
No, here's what I'm saying. When you've got the heirs of the Volunteer Bank getting millions of dollars, I'm sure it was millions. It has to be millions.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they want Mr. Charles, Mr. Big Spoon here to pay taxes for Retail Strategies when they could pay the $30,000 a year. That's the point. That's the fox in the hen house. You're a rich entitled twat waffle who was snatched out of the right crotch, and therefore you use the taxpayers' money to sell your property to businesses.
They're the family that's going to benefit. They're the only one that sits where we're sitting or where they're sitting that's going to benefit from that retail strategy. And that's not the comical thing. The comical thing is, was it $6,600 for the light for the school area?
Oh, well, no. Oh, it was $6,500. They had concerns about
$6,500 to make sure your kids were safe in a school zone
using a electronic speed sign. It's
right.
all the same meeting. The last meeting was pretty good. I'd advise anybody to go watch it, but you see the concerns about spending $6,500 for a sign that could last. I think the guy said last upwards of 5 years. So you're talking about, $1,250, $1,300 a year to put a speed sign up near school zone so that people know how fast they're going by sidewalks for children walk. We have a problem with that.
They had
$30,000 a year
for retail strategies.
Keep Retail Strategies. Go ahead. Yeah. We'll keep funding the possibility of selling the Collins' land.
If that doesn't open more people's eyes, where they will argue back and forth about
whatever you do. Who's up now? It's
Mike Hall, Megan Thompson, Drew Jennings, and the mayor.
Get rid of them. Nobody vote for whatever you do. Don't vote for those three and that mayor. Do not vote for them. Abstain if you have to.
Yeah.
Don't check the box. But if you check the box, you're part of the city problem.
Yeah. But if you watch the meetings and you pay attention, they sat there and they spent $90,000 for the last 3 years for retail strategies, and they want to spend another $30,000 this year. That's $120,000,
which could just come out of Megan Thompson's piggy bank.
And it has done the city no good. But they squawked back and forth and debated about spending $6,500 for something that would protect your children.
Well, something that would remind drivers that they're driving their children a little fast.
Right. Well, I know, but I'm saying that would help protect the children if the people are paying attention. They squawked over $6,500, but the $120,000 the retail strategies, that's okay. They sit and borrow money left and right.
Then they started complaining about what did they complain? Chick-fil-A. Who gives a shit about? There's a Chick-fil-A in Gallatin. What do I care? It's 9 minutes that way.
But let's talk the real reason why we don't get those businesses.
Well, because the rich people, Megan Thompson's family wants to double and triple the land prices because they're the holders of the land.
Those businesses are not going to pay the prices that they want to come into the city. So they control what comes in here, right? Mm-hmm. Walmart wanted to come in here. Guess where Walmart was built?
White House.
And Franklin. I'm talking about the Franklin one. It was built in Franklin, then it went to White House.
Franklin, White House, and Gallatin. Everywhere but here.
Hey, that's right. So
planning and codes, Alderwoman Megan Thompson.
If people would watch these movies or watch these meetings, you don't even have to go to them. Just watch them and pay attention that the things that happen and the way they vote and the things they vote on and the things they fight and squabble about. Just like that open records, Dillard was the only one in defense of the people on that records request. Me and you were there to talk on it. I had to leave, go to work, so you got to talk on it. But he was the only one saying you're not concerned about the people or the the city workers, or you're concerned about the city workers and the officers, which the officers already get told, but you're not concerned about the people. That's the whole thing we were talking about. And
Well, my thing is you didn't spell out what are you giving. What information are you giving them?
they purposely leave it open ended like that so they can get by with more.
The thing is, it's almost like they think that's going to deter people from requesting information. It doesn't deter me.
I don't give a shit. I'll announce it to you when I do it.
You
You're
want me
a
to? You want me
you're
to
a
come?
public.
You want me to
You're
walk into the meeting and say it in front of them? No, I don't care. But I told the whole council when I was sitting there. I requested every one of your files,
you
but they told me it didn't exist.
if you're a public figure and you work for a municipality, the city, the state, kind of whatever,
You
you already
don't
know
have right to privacy.
you already know your records are open. You have given up your privacy. So if I go request your file and you get mad at me, that's your problem. I don't really give a shit. You chose the career you chose. The law is what the law is. So getting mad at me for requesting your file,
I mean, we work for the
it's
same
it's
company. Our
it's kind of,
records. There's a personnel file on us.
hey, our records are open. I'm a truck driver. Anytime the FMCSA or DOT wants to pull my record, you think they tell me, hey, Mr. Cole, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has pulled your record and inspected
No, they
your
don't
files.
inform either of us.
No, they can pull them at any point in time they want, and they don't tell me
We
shit.
we get pulled over by a cop or pulled into a scale and hand them our driver's license. They're looking at our whole driving record.
From the time we started. And here's a different thing. In all the files that I pulled, there's no training in there, which should be. There's no drug screens. Do they not get tested for drug screens? Like Monday's my day off this week. My company could call me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and say, hey, I need you to go take a drug test per DOT. I got 2 hours on my day off. I have to get there and do a drug screen. If not, they could fire me. It's the city and public people. Are they held to the same standard?
Well, I mean, you've got. Did you speculate that Alderman Brian Woodall drives a public vehicle?
No, I made the statement. I said, if one of the council people drove a person or a city vehicle and they were in an accident, where does that information go? Because
Well, no, it was. But no, I'm saying when they say that when the city attorney makes the statement that there's no, these aldermen, there's no file.
he's a
If you,
liar.
yeah, he's a liar. He's lying at that point. He should be disbarred. He should lose his license because he is lying. Because I guarantee you, like the record recorder lady, Patricia King, like she said, or she's shown, she has sexual harassment training. The rest of them don't.
Well, she made the statement to me and you both. We asked her. We were in there together. I said, if the mayor walked by and slapped his secretary on the ass and she reported him and he was investigated, where's that information go? She's like, that's never happened. No, it's never happened in this world. Never. It's never happened.
Now there's an open. Go ahead, grab as many, squeeze as many asses as you want in the city of Portland. There's no file for it, right?
Maybe we should be asking how many times has the mayor slapped the chamber CEO's ass? Maybe I should be asking.
Oh,
that
the one, the lady that walked in there all gussied up that you think the mayor might be. That's just a rumor now. I don't know. That's inside city rumors. The mayor may be or may not be having an affair.
Well, I mean, apparently, if you work for the city, you got to be part of this big orgy. If you work for the chamber, the city, or the police department, it's just like one big orgy going on.
That lady was sure overdressed for a meeting like that, wasn't she? Maybe that was, Hobbit nurse says she has to go somewhere else. Or she was just showing off the goods.
What did you do? Pull her string?
I don't know. I can hear in there. No. I guess it's like I said. I'm pretty much done at this point with the whole meeting BS. There's no point. Just Mr. Spoon, please work on being the mayor. Get that mayor out of here. Fire that PS.
what I need to get
Yeah.
across to people though is pay attention to what's going on,
Oh
right?
no, watch.
This
You
this
watch.
this
You watch
this
and see it. You can see it. It's right there. We're $30,000 a year for retail companies to come in here and buy this rich Megan Thompson family land. It's way overpriced. You know what I mean? We're
what
going to spend the taxpayer dollars on that. But why should we put up a speed detector near a school for $6,500?
yeah. But here's another thing is the last money they borrowed, they went to that bond company out of Clarksville, right?
6 million or 6 million, yeah.
But
It's
but
not on it's not on yours. So but it is there. You've got it.
but what people don't understand is they're so hard strapped. They borrowed so much money that they had to go to Clarksville to a bond company to borrow this money. That's like a regular citizen going, I got to go to a check cashing service to get money because I'm so screwed up with my credit the bank won't loan me any money or a loan company won't give me any money. So I'm going to go to the check cashing place and borrow me some money. That's how far strapped the city is. And they keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and doing everything in their means to borrow and put us further and further in debt. Right now, we're at $50 million of debt. That's what I
No,
can account for.
that's not what the mayor said though. The mayor
Well,
said
the
we got
mayor,
$4 million in the bank in a
the,
balanced budget, which is a
the,
half. Those are the half truths.
the mayor sets up there and gives half truths. The attorney sets up there and lies. The chief stands up there and gives half truths.
Oh yeah, him and Dillard's argument back and forth about it. How many times did she lie about? I release the records I'm required to, but what did you get on his file? Two,
Two pieces of paper.
two, two pieces of paper.
So I'm going to tell you they all three, the chief, the mayor, and the part-time attorney, Mr. Bradley, they all lie. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say they give half truths.
They lied.
Uh,
That was the chief of police sitting there saying, no, the chief of police saying, I release all records as I'm required to do.
no, he doesn't.
Did
No, he
not
doesn't.
release his records to you.
No, he
You
didn't.
requested his personnel file.
And in the same video, him and Thomas were debating back and forth. He said it's under my discretion, right? Under his
No, it is
discretion.
not under your discretion, chief.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just telling you what he said. Under his discretion is what he said. Under my discretion, it's under my discretion. So he would not release the video twice to me because I requested it twice. He would not release the video to Thomas, and it was at Thomas's house. But he released the video to a police officer or whoever else to release it to the news in Nashville. That was okay. That was under his discretion. And if the city allows the chief to be the deciding factor under his
judge, jury, executioner, that's what
under his discretion to release these files, there's enough corruption right there. I mean, case closed, right?
Yeah, we need a mayor like Big Spoon who will fire that chief and tell the city attorney, well, defend. That's all there is to it. You know,
Well, we got
because Callis won't. You ask Callis directly. Your 5 minute spill about why you didn't do something against the corruption with the DUI. Your 5 minute spill on that went nowhere, and the only thing the Portland Sun would talk about you on was you and your clan buddy Dillard were, you know, you were defending your clan buddy Dillard, and as y'all were riding around in your white hoods and your pointed helmets and driving off in the sunset with burning crosses.
that should be enough to tell the people right there.
There is a hell of corruption in that little town. Get them out. Fire
It's been that way.
Fire them. Do not care. Let them throw as much money. That's the real.
What was one of the famous quotes by Andrew Jackson of the Banks? What was it?
No, okay. So Andrew Jackson, great Tennessean, donated a picture. So Andrew Jackson, in his it wasn't his first year as president. He came into president. He was the seventh president of the United States, Andrew Jackson, and he had his people follow the central bank because there was two central banks in this country. The first one was put in by John Quincy Adams early in his presidency. So Andrew Jackson followed the central bank. the first central bank of the U.S. And Andrew Jackson called in the bankers who ran that bank. We could call it Vol State or Farmers Bank, Bank FU, whatever you want to call it.
Make FU.
They're all corrupt. Okay, the bankers are the corrupt. Banks don't create anything. They issue currency. That's all they do. And they get to play in currency. So here's what Andrew Jackson told the first bankers. I might get this. Don't quote me verbatim, but he brought in the banksters and he says, "I've had my people follow you and watch you. And when you bet on the foodstuffs and agriculture of this nation, and you're correct, you pay yourselves handsomely. When you are incorrect, you charge it off against the bank. You write your losses off against the bank, but when you're right, you reap in the rewards and you reward your family. You're a den of vipers and thieves, and I intend to root you out." And he did. Got rid of the first bank of the U.S. So he was a good man. Whether you want to hate him for being the orchestrator of the Trail of Tears and moving everyone west, he was still a good man. He knew what was important with currency. So did Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was another one. If y'all go watch John Adams, the series on HBO,
very good series.
It's a very good series. I highly recommend it. It comes with a A plus 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 rating from me. But there's a scene where Thomas Jefferson sits down with Alexander Hamilton, and they're discussing finance and bank and the U.S. role in banking. And Jefferson looks at Jackson or Hamilton when he talks about going into debt to London. He says, "Whoa, I fear if Virginia farmer's in hock to a New York stock chopper who's in hock to a London banker, my revolution was in vain, gentlemen." He's correct. If London was funding New York and then New York was funding a farm in Virginia, did London not just take control of Virginia?
Absolutely.
But it's the same thing. It's where you got these banks that sit there, and Megan Thompson's family benefited highly from being a bank. Because what? What did you create, Megan Thompson? What? Say what you will, but you didn't create nothing. You got pulled out of the right crotch. That's all there is to
it. Can you just see how her demeanor is? Can you tell that she's never had to work a day of her life?
As she pets the plebes on the head for not firing their fireworks. Oh, what a Karen!
Yeah,
that was funny. You plebes, y'all listened to her. She had to give you a scratch behind the ears, you good little doggies.
This should be telling enough for the people not to reelect these people. If you watch in these meetings when the citizens come up to the public hearing and they speak on an item that they're passionate about or they don't want or something they feel like it's not good for the community, you watch the council. They're looking down. They're playing on their phone. They're not paying attention in the world because they don't give a shit. And these are elected people that were put there to represent the people. Do you think they represent the people? They don't give a shit.
They represent their own self-interest.
The whole time during the meeting, unless she's talking, Miss Thompson has her phone in her lap, texting back and forth. And we all know the majority of the time who she's communicating with. It's her mother, because her mother pulls the strings in this town, or she thinks she does.
The people of this town can come out and cut those strings. That's what
they could. They could. It's not likely. Not with the record here lately of the people getting out and voting.
I asked Mikey if he'd run for alderman. He ain't said nothing. You don't live around the corner from him, Mr. Spoon. You could always ride over and beg him. Please,
I've talked
please be my vote. I know you've asked people. You have asked people.
I've talked to so many people. They don't want no part of it. They know how it is, and I try to tell them unless we do something about it, it's never going to change. And they're like, "Well, I don't think it's going to change." And I'm like,
"It can change this November.
It can." And if you sit up there and you watch what goes on and watch them lie to you. They sit up there and they lie to you. Okay, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. They tell you half truths because the mayor set up there and tell you that we have a balanced budget, we have a $4 million surplus, which is true, but it's only half true. He don't tell you about the $50+ million we're in debt and the payments we're going to be making until the year 2050 or 2055. He doesn't tell you that, right? Because he wants to look good. Just like the water problem. You know, they debated the water again this past meeting. Remember?
Yeah.
He sat up and said, "Well, I thought you said we were good. Now
you said we were good. You said we were good, and this big housing development, and we voted for it, and now it's like, okay, so there's a lady that owns a quarter lot on South Russell and 52, and she can't have it changed zoning from commercial to high density residential. What's she going to put in? 8, 10, 12 families at most, and you're going to come into a point of diminishing returns where her apartment complex, whatever it is, as it grows, eventually it's not going to be able to house a full family. You're going to go from being able to house 4 people to 3 people to 2 people. So it could be like the Portland Apartments, which is, an old motel or whatever behind the old pharmacy. Is that what she's going to do? She's going to bring in 2 people times 30? So she's bringing 6 people in here. But Megan Thompson's brother gets a development
of 200 plus.
Three to I thought Callis called it 1,000 house.
I don't think it's that big, but anyway, it's a big subdivision, right?
Big subdivision. So you're talking about and you misunderstood me in our debates this week on that one. Anyway, Spoon.
Right. I thought we were talking about automobiles.
You talking about automobiles. I'm talking about population.
Yeah.
So City Water has a population. We're looking at. I was calculating it on a conservative estimate of 2.5 per house population density. You could say it could go up to 4. So, but my thing was, if it was 1,000 homes, we're talking about 2,500 people, maybe 4,000 people. So you're talking about a huge increase in density and a huge drain on Portland City Water. But since this lady who owns this South Russell property isn't related, hers gets deferred and told no. And then the mayor goes and breaks a tie boat for what? For his good lap, his good pet him on the head, Rich Thompson family. We know it ain't Thompson's. Just her,
It's Collins.
Yeah. They're the rich family.
Russell, Collins, all the same. Thompson. She's married. She's married. That's her married name. But here's the thing you got to pay attention to. All right. This water issue has been going. We had Mayor Wilbur for over 13 years, I think, 13 and a half years. Water was an issue. All right. It was an issue before that, I'm sure. It's still an issue. We don't have enough water. We don't have the clean water to supply the people we have now. But they keep letting subdivisions come in, right? And the mayor wants to sit here. He's been mayor almost 4 years. And he told you a few meetings ago that he spent 3 years working on the sewer aspect of it, which the sewer only constitutes about a third of the population, right?
You don't even have sewer.
I don't even have sewer. Everybody in the city and outside the city is on the water. So he spent 3 years of his mayor working on the sewer, concentrating on that affects about a fourth to a third of the population, instead of working on the water that affects the whole population. And I want you to understand this. He spent 16 years on the city council and 4 years of mayor. That's 20 years. The last 20 years he's been in office. So all these problems have been there.
Under his watch.
Mike Hall has been there for like 30 years. There's two right there. All these problems have been under their watch. They voted on these things. They've done these things. And what has got better? Just like I told you, they were squabbling over that. They were squabbling over that $400,000 to pave Scattersville Road that should have been paved 2 or 3 years ago. And they're sitting on property all around here that they refuse to sell, that they could put the money back into the city to pay for those things. So I'm going to make this statement right here. If the people do not get out and vote and remove that mayor out of office and replace those aldermen sitting on that council and make a difference in this city, you're the problem. And it's not going to fix itself. It's going to continue to get worse. That $50 million in your debt is going to turn into $100 million. Instead of bringing in retail, you're going to lose retail. Instead of fixing the water problem, it's going to get worse.
you're going to lose some retail, but you're going to get the retail that the Megan Thompson's family wants. The ones that buy their property at
Well,
jacked up increased rates.
yeah, the ones they can dictate to and say, "Hey, I'll sell you my land and my property if you pay my price." And the big corporations like Chick-fil-A and Walmart and those
So
they
tell
tell
them
them,
to go pound sand.
yeah, they tell them to go f themselves and they go do it somewhere else. They don't have to have their land.
Yeah, no, they act like they own control over this little town, and that's
Well,
it's
will they have for how
I got
long?
again, people. It's right here. It's right in your face. It's in your face. It's a stinking pile of doo doo right in the middle of your living room. It's right here. You have two banks in this town. Two. That's it. There is your proof. Those two banks get what they want.
You've had three names control everything that goes on in this town for a long time. They're the Dunahos, the Whitakers, and the Collins. I'm going to call them all out right there. All right. I've had people over the last few months tell me that I need to calm down. I need to back off.
Do what they say to get in there, and
I need.
you need to be a sneak attack.
You've
got to lie to them and be like them.
I need
so
to
you can get into office.
I need to kind of, massage and play good to get in there. And this is my response to all of you. You heard those saying you don't poke the bear. I like to walk up and smack the in the face with a shovel and let him know I'm there. They know I'm here. I'm not going to let the corruption continue. Whether I get elected or not, I'm going to continue to root them out at every avenue that I can.
And if you don't, I'm going to call you out.
And I'm going to continue talking about it until the people stand up and they do something about it. This town has not grown the way it should have grown. It's been dictated and grown by the people who've gotten rich and continue to get rich while the taxpayers suffer. Because every time they misappropriate money and waste money and borrow money, like we're the freaking Kardashians, who do they come to with their hands out wanting to pay it? They come to us. And on the ticket this election again, just like the last election when the mayor was up, is they're wanting to raise your taxes again. A half cent for every dollar spent in the city. It may not seem like a lot, but the fact is they're always coming to the taxpayers, wanting the taxpayers to pay.
But they're always borrowing money so they can buy more equipment, fund more retail strategists, LLC.
Let's stop making the rich in this town richer. And I named them to you, the Dunahos, the Whitakers, and the Collins. I don't think that's a big surprise to anybody. If it is, I'm sorry that you just woke up. I'm sorry that rock got lifted off the top of you. But that's the fact of it.
If you bend the knee to those families, you can make a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you can. Yeah. But money's not.
You got to bend the knee.
I'm not bending the knee. Money doesn't drive me.
That's what it doesn't drive me neither. Me, as soon as I get it, I spend it. I'm gone. I buy Zimbabwe dollars because I'm retarded.
And Puddin can tell you I could work a whole lot more and make a whole lot more money. But I choose not to.
Yeah, you chose to leave me in a meeting all by myself Monday.
I work enough to pay out my bills.
You could have called in an hour or two late. You could have put in a whole 12 hours on Wednesday or Thursday, dick.
I wasn't going to give up a day off over an hour or two. No.
I didn't say you give up a day off. I said you give up an hour or two, and then you come in on Wednesday or Thursday, and you work a 12. You make up plus 10.
I work enough to pay the bills, make sure the family's taken care of, and that's it.
Leave me hanging a minute.
4 days a week. 4 days a week is all I work. That's max.
Okay. So you're part of the problem, Mr. Stone.
Emma?
You want to sit around and drink your Starbucks and stay home all the time?
I don't drink Starbucks.
I don't know. That's your expression, bitch. Let me put it on you. But no, my point is, it's real simple. You got to look at these meetings. You can see the Alderwoman Megan Thompson, one of the biggest landowning families in the city, but she's part of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Wow, that ain't the fox chewing on the hens, is it?
The comical thing to me though is as a council they had to act like they did something and vote Thomas off the some of these committees because
What was it? Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Recreation, which Thomas is from this town. His kids, he played in this town. His kids still played at these parks. So him being over it, you can understandable. But they take it away from him and give it to Megan Thompson, which her kids don't go to school in this town. They go to private school. They don't play sports in this town, right?
They
She
probably
don't.
don't
She
drink
don't.
the fluorinated water in this
No,
town.
they don't. She don't give a shit about the parks and recreation of this town. Why would she?
She does. Well, if you don't use it, what do you care? I'm sure she's probably got her own pool in the backyard, maybe even an indoor pool. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure.
Why does
I
she
mean,
care about the pool of Portland? And is it gonna be fixed or cleaned or expanded upon? Why does she care? You know, but it's some kind of joke. It's like some kind of sick upside down matrix. But you'll accept the programming
out
and
of
it'll
them,
be.
all of them up there, I'm kind of disappointed in Thomas a little bit, but he still tries to defend the people.
He tries to
Jody,
defend the people, but he keeps running to the same cause. My point in that meeting was, if somebody was to pull a deed or a land plat or request a survey from the city, are you going to contact that person and tell them that your land survey has been requested
well,
by
no.
such and such? No, you're not. You don't
Well,
care.
well, even when Thomas was asked, the mayor tried to play these childish games like, well, I mean, how would we know to get a hold of them? If you have their land surveys and their land plats, you have all their information.
I do believe the
Every
government probably even gets a discount on postage. I don't know. I'm just curious. But I mean, and even if they don't, it's snake eating its own tail at that point, right?
but I was running through here. Thomas is still good. He still tries to do the right thing to defend for the people. Jody, when he's there, he's a little overworked. For the most part, he's okay too. I'm disappointed in some of the things he does.
Well,
Megan Thompson's got to go.
oh
Drew
yeah,
Jennings got to go. Mike Hall got to go. Penny
yeah, y'all are.
Barnes. Penny Barnes. I'm still on the fence about her. I like her husband Steve.
Hey,
I don't.
she's the one that put the foyer thing up. So let's not talk about that. She's the one that put it on the meeting, according
No,
to.
no, 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 no. No, the mayor put it on her. That just went under her. The mayor's the one who wanted it on there. He admitted it. He's the one who wanted it on there.
I know it was a pretty heated meeting between Dillard and the
Yeah.
mayor and the chief sitting up there lying. You got a police chief lying. You've got him on camera lying. Can he even write a citation at this point? Has he even been? Did you get any training in his personnel file that shows he's
no.
been trained in
According
writing
to
citations?
according to the file they tried to give me, he's not even allowed to carry his gun. He needs to hand it over.
He was standing there with a gun on. Should I be petrified of him?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. He might be but I mean, I'm saying you've got a lying police chief that sat there and says, "I release records when I'm required to, as per being required to," and you didn't release your own.
And I have facts. Facts. Since he wants to talk, well, I have law and facts behind me. I have the facts proving that
At
he
my
does not
discretion.
release the records by the
Yep.
state law, and I have the state law sitting right here that I read earlier. So she, and like I said, Penny Barnes, I'm still kind of on the fence about. I think, I know her husband.
Who,
Right,
if she can't be brought in line, then you need to throw her out in 2024. I mean,
Brian Woodall. He's back and forth. I think he means well, but he's got too much teeth in the game to benefit from.
If you mean well, but you've got, you're dipping your debt. No, I don't really care. I don't care for you. You
So
you're either 100% or you're none. I mean, really, are you 100% for the people who elected you, or are you none? That's the question.
well, if you sit up there and you look at them at a whole,
If you're 20% in favor of Megan Thompson and helping her family out because what? Because they got money, because they got a lot of land holdings. If you're 20% into helping them out because of their position, then you're not for the people.
but if you sit up there and you look at that whole council and how they conduct business and their elected officials, how many of them do you think are there actually represent the people? From you're outsider looking in. You tell me.
I haven't watched enough of the meetings to see what Dillard's done, but I would say maybe him only. Maybe him only. Maybe him getting in his argument and then everybody trying to destroy him. Or again, maybe like I said, it's too bad he can't leave his position and go run for mayor. He's already in it. You
Oh,
know.
he can leave his position and run for mayor. Absolutely, he can.
I mean, I guess
You
if
got you
y'all
got to
if
you
y'all
got to
clan brothers are gonna
you got to give up
run
your
together,
position. He's got
I
to
know.
give up his position. But yeah, absolutely good. I
Like I
don't I
said,
don't I don't think it would be a wise choice by him, but
no,
uh,
he's got his seat till 2024, and he could prove to everyone that why he's earned his seat. But he needs the people's help to get rid of them three corrupt POSs and get them out of there. You know, you got to throw out. You got to throw them out. No, you
you know,
can't. You can't be an old fud. Get rid of them.
there's been so many people make the statement as well. If you did get some of them out and got somebody new in there, you couldn't just go in there and start rolling heads. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, heads has got to roll.
No, heads start dropping. You get rid of them. You get rid of, was it Officer Hope that let his girlfriend go? He's got to go. And then the
Well,
chief, he's got to
well,
go.
I mean, that incident's so far past. You now at this point, you got to wait till he screws up again. I mean, they've already let it ride this long.
You've seen it won't take long. He'll screw up.
It shouldn't take long, uh, but the dead weight's got to go.
Hmm.
The corruption's got to go. You got to get people in there that you trust. You got to get people in there that's going to do the right
So
thing.
if anyone's watching this who knows Mr. Spoon and he's doing his bid for mayor and everybody wants to coordinate, I think that you need three people. I don't live in the city. I live outside of the city limits. But I was thinking about that myself because you sit there, my mail that comes to my house is addressed Portland. Although the address isn't inside of the city limits, but that means that I can't run for alderman. I would go up there and help you. If I could run for alderman, I would. But it's kind of like because I'm outside of the city limits, I'm not allowed to. I'm restricted. Well, my mail comes through the Portland post office.
The way they look at it is when you go vote, can you vote for anything in the city?
I think that would be a good one to put on the agenda. That if your mail is addressed Portland, yeah, you should be allowed to vote in the city. You should be allowed to have an opinion about what goes on in the city, and you should be allowed to run for council if you want to. Because I would run for council and let you take the mayor because you live right there. I don't want to. I wouldn't quit my job. You know what I mean? I would just show up 2 Mondays every other Monday. I'd show up to the council meeting, but I wouldn't quit my job for it.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm still in the last stages of gathering my signatures on my petition to have my hat in the ring on the ballot come November. So,
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to depose Megan Thompson. I'd love to kick her corrupt ass out of there.
if
That'd be
anybody
wonderful,
watches
wouldn't it?
this, lives in the city limits, and wants to sign a petition, you just let me know. Uh, I've got it. I've got enough signatures. I'm just trying to fill my pages up to guarantee that I got more than enough before I turn it
Showing
in.
your support. Well, I know you got enough signature, but again, if someone out there wants to, you'll help them. If they're willing to go and be an alderman to help you.
I think there should be abundance of people run. There's only 3 spots open. That's fine.
3 spots at mayor. You know,
100 people run for it. Yeah, 3 spots in the mayor. 100 people run for mayor. 100 people run for the city council. The
I'm not
more the
scared of
merrier.
competition.
No,
People, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what was it you said about the recorder Patricia's comment about fluoride? We were wondering why you wanted information on fluoride, and I said, well, I had to wait over 30 minutes for you. I wanted to go to Dunkin' Donuts and get some coffee while I waited, but then I wasn't sure if there was fluoride in the water or how much. That's why I want to know how much fluoride you're dumping in the water.
what does it matter why we want to know? It's
No,
open record.
I know it doesn't. No, I know that's their point. They sit around wanting to. Why does this person care? He doesn't live in the city. He's not on the city water. He's got a well. My mail says Portland on it, jackass. That's why I care.
And the TPRA says a resident of the state.
Well, the state doesn't say the city.
No.
It says the state. So If you're a resident if you live in Gallatin or Nashville and you're watching this and you want to bug the city of Portland, send them a FOIA request. Bug them.
Yeah, that would be comical.
Load them up. Yeah, just load them up. We could give you her email so you could just fill out FOIA requests all day long. Just load them up.
All you got to do is go to the city of Portland, Tennessee.gov, and you can find records requests. You could do it. You can do it online. You can fill a form out and email
you
them
got to
right
leave your
there.
bedroom. You could sit there watching anime porn and on your TV while you're
Oh my
filling out
God!
FOIA requests.
But Barnum, everybody requests somebody else from the city's file that you know, or an officer file, just to piss them off.
Just load them up so they get all heavy. That's the doxing. Like you just said, show their addresses. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to dox them purposefully.
I was being sarcastic.
I know. I get it. You're being sarcastic, but I said it to you the other day. I said, "Wow, look at what a white pages Google search will do for you."
But I mean, we're kind of being funny and comical, but
it's funny and comical because, but it's not because they made the comment that we want. No, I don't want your records. I don't care where you live.
Well, the ironic thing is they want to stand up there and they want a bold-faced lie, the chief, the mayor, and the attorney, and tell half truths and say they followed the TPRA when they don't. Even the county violated the TPRA, but even though they did, they still gave us the file. What? Within 10 days.
The county was the most. They were the MVPs of releasing that record. They did not,
because it had a weekend and a holiday, and you still got it.
I filed it on like a Monday or a Tuesday, and then there was a weekend with a holiday, and I still got it by the following Friday. So, business days and all things considered, I think it was about 7 days.
And it was digital because they're smart.
And it was digital because that's the city that needs to be addressed, and that's part of my fraud, waste, and abuse claim. Because if you're not going to release the records digitally, then it shouldn't be on the request. It shouldn't be an option. Because the city wants to sit around and act like that's not not allowable. But it's just they're stonewalling. That's all they're doing. They're being obstructionists.
They started stonewalling, and they continued, and that's why I said it's comical, because even though the county violated the TPRA because they told the officer the same day or the next day that his file has been requested, long before you got the file, they still got the file to us super fast.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't.
And I'm still waiting on files from 4 months ago, but the chief wants to stand up there and go, "I'll release files according to the law," and I'm in.
Oh, he said there. He said that Patricia has that. She has the what was it? The video of Dillard in her office right now, and she could release it same day. Yeah, I highly doubt that.
Yeah,
I highly doubt that. I ain't seen nothing in a day.
Why haven't I got it? I've requested it twice.
If you were part of Megan Thompson's family and you wanted some land surveys, you'd get them same day. Maybe if you were Patricia's husband's business, so was it a septic business? You said
something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Maybe he gets permits the same day.
Maybe if I was employed by the chamber and I was a mistress of an officer, I would be able to get those.
You could be. You want to be the chief's mistress? Is that what you're saying, Spoon?
No, he couldn't handle me.
Oh, he couldn't handle you.
Yeah. Boy,
why, are you that much of an animal? You raging beast, you.
Just his freaking ego. If you notice when he got up,
I seen him sitting there. I deal in facts and certainty. Just lied.
Dillard said, "Officer Williams, I'm sorry, Chief." He said, "Yeah, I'm the chief." Just the ego and the way he got upset over things. That should be telling enough.
He's too thin-skinned. He's too thin-skinned.
You're a public servant. You're a head of the police department. You're supposed to set the example to be a professional at all times to the people, right? Even Mr. Dillard is only a part-time alderman. He's there 2 meetings a month if he's there then. Sometimes he's not there at all. So he's still a citizen. Like even dealing with me after that meeting I showed up, he wanted to show his red face, egotistical, pissed off at me. Fine, be pissed off at me. But first and foremost, be the example, be a professional, control your temper, control your ego. All right? Guess what? You work for me. Believe it or not, past your ego, you work for me. You work for the people. All right. And you have no authority over me or the people until we break a law. That is fact. Since we're dealing in facts, Mr. Chief.
Yeah, we're dealing in facts, Mr. Chief. You
All
shouldn't be
right.
allowed to write a jaywalking ticket because you're untrustworthy.
It's called RAS, reasonable articular suspicion. You either have to caught me in the act, you have the facts knowing that I'm about to create the act, or I've already created the act of breaking a law before you have any authority over me or anybody else. So control your ego, control your temple, be a professional, set the example for your officers. So I can tell all right now why some of the officers act the way they act because they see it in their chief. That's a fact, Jack.
Nah, actually, I'm gonna go get the records request tomorrow for you know. I'm sure they probably let the internet guy know that I requested his file. You know,
Well, here's another thing we could probably hit on with that TPRA.
I'm not.
I forgot to mention to you that I thought was comical about the paying.
Who?
It says they can charge
They can
for
charge hourly, and which is what these little stickers are. 15 cents a page and hourly, which
right.
is
They can charge
again.
for copies, but it also says in the TPRA that the rec the record custodian shall provide a request for estimated of the reasonable cost to provide copies of the requested materials. They're supposed to do that ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
And it says, where is it? I can't find it. But the costs associated with redacting records or information, including the cost of copies and staff time to provide redacted copies, shall be borne as provided by current law. Right? Where is that thing?
I mean, we got to get to the state level. Honestly, we're going to have to wait till they're in session. We're going to try to get some clarification and more oversight. Honestly, is what I think needs to happen.
There's a section in the TPRA that says the costs for redacting and the charge and costs for redacting and supplying requests should not uh, be used to hinder the public from requesting. Like if they give you some ridiculous amount, they're
Oh,
doing that. They're doing that to keep you from getting it. You know.
yeah, no, it's obstructionist. Is what it is. That's the word I'm going to use. Obstructionist. We could use the expression stonewalling, whatever. But that's all it is obstructionist. So but the city supremacy doesn't. To me, it doesn't matter. I don't see it as legitimate. That I'm gonna go get my record tomorrow, uh, or at least attempt to for the, but instead of her doing her job and scanning it in and emailing it to me like requested, that's what I consider. I shouldn't have to go in there and sit in that stupid building and take pictures. That's retarded.
Well, I mean, that's what you got when you when
Maybe
you
maybe you win and you become the boss. You could advise her to scoot on out of her position where she makes way too much money, and you could replace her with somebody maybe almost half the rate. That'll
40,
do almost
40,
40 bucks an hour.
40 years in the city, almost $40 an hour. I mean,
Time for you to go. Time
make
for
a
you to go.
pretty good payday in it. Well,
Apparently, I don't. I don't think my dad knew he could get his wages that high by going and working for a city. He actually had a skill though. He fixed people's phone lines. That's what he did for a living.
right.
He was a cable splicer and phone repair guy. He worked on fiber and stuff like that. Yeah, no, he actually had a skill. He was a skilled person. Like we're skilled people. We actually bring detergent to your neighborhood.
I'm an underpaid skilled person.
Well, the skilled people are underpaid apparently. Because we don't. City recorder's got a 9 to 5 job where she can spend an hour on lunch every day and probably gets way more weeks of vacation than we do.
She's been there 40 years. She's probably, I don't know what they're, she's probably got 2 or 3 months of vacation, I'd say.
I don't know.
Being there that long.
I don't know. I forgot to ask that. I messed up in the meeting. I wanted to ask if the recorder was part of that new 4% increased wage hike. We touched on it last Sunday. I'll ask her in video when I see her tomorrow.
All right.
I'm going to record tomorrow's interaction with her because I'm sick of the little ditties that she throws out there that I wished I had on camera. Like,
Good.
we're not playing games, huh?
So we can put that up on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we can put that up on YouTube.
Go to YouTube, Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin. Give us a subscribe,
We need to. I sent you the videos, right, that I screen recorded from the last meeting. We need to put them up there.
I don't think so.
I sent you the 3-minute video of me up there arguing with them.
But did you? Maybe you did. I don't know. Well, anyway. I guess it's about time to end it, right?
Yeah, you got to work tonight.
Yeah, I need to go to bed. All right, everybody. We'll see y'all next week. We appreciate you. We're going to get out of here.
Have fun. Thank y'all. See you next weekend.